And
has the aircraft had a chance to see any active service?
they participated over Libya. They weren't. The Swedes had them flying, and they didn't drop any bombs. But I mean, they were there. So they've seen action, well, as much as you can call Libya action. I mean, it's they saw action technically, as did the Typhoon and the Rafale.
Right. Well, it seems to have calmed down. I guess it's coming into land now. It's finishing its display. Just checking what we've got up next. An F-18. So I think Dave's the man to talk about F-18 as well. But I'm going to hand over to Graham Dunn in just a few moments. So if we go and fish him, here he is. Here's my man. So it's a tag teaming over. Graham, if you would like to come in here. Luckily, I've given you a veritable expert to talk through the F-18 about.
Oh, Dave, well, that's exactly.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just finished talking to Captain Morley, the program manager for this thing for Nav Air.
Oh, brilliant. So when did you catch up with him?
He was actually, it's about maybe half an hour ago.
This is genuinely off the press. That's brilliant. So you saw him about half an hour ago. What kind of was he looking sort of tense, or I mean, how's he like?
Pretty relaxed. I mean, Frank Morley's he's very calm. He's actually a test pilot for this aircraft. I mean, he's been flying for I think pretty much since the beginning, and basically gave us a rundown of exactly where the program stands and what they're doing with it and everything else. But I'm allegedly supposed to be going up in one of these things on Thursday, I believe. It should be fun, I hope.
So what kind of, I mean, have you ever been up in something similar, or will that be your first kind of experience?
I mean, I started off as a pilot, but I mean, this is my first time in an actual jet fighter. I've flown in transport aircraft and turboprops and. I spent a lot of time flying piston engine aircraft, but this is my first time in a jet fighter, so it should be interesting.
That's going to be. I know you're sort of ready to be chucked about and all of that. I mean, what kind of what kind of sort
sets
of
of shows that the demo pilots prepare. One, if they have a completely unlimited ceiling, they'll fly a much higher profile using using much more airspace. But when they have a low ceiling, they try to make it a flatter show. They try to show off as much of the aircraft's capabilities as they can, and like you can see over here, he's trying to show off the Super Hornet's low speed characteristics, where it excels. Like at low speeds, it does things that most other airplanes can't. One of the tricks I like to show off is I don't think I've seen it here, but I haven't really been able to pay attention as quick, since we're doing this. But they'd like to do one of the things I like to show off is a move they call the pirouette, which is basically a high angle of attack maneuver where the aircraft is at low speed. It pitches up into high angle of attack flight, and it kind of does like a it turns around almost like it's spinning, and it comes back around, like it's like a, there's no really good way of describing it. And over here, right now, he's demonstrating a high alpha pass. So he's at a very, very high angle of attack and at very low speeds.
But it's almost like it's just sat there, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
exactly, right. It's and they can actually go a lot slower than this, but this is an air show, and they can't risk, getting a bunch of people killed. So they could go slower. But that's what the area of the envelope the Super Hornet excels in. So that's what they like to show off. One area the Super Hornet does suffer is transonic acceleration, and kind of like it's. Because it's primarily designed as a naval aircraft, I mean, it has to have excellent carrier landing characteristics.
You should, of course, say we really want to hear your comments and so forth, and we have some from the Twitter feed as we speak. Safi Davis, this is fab. Now you sorted sound out. Brilliant. That sounds good. Abby Albatross, Flying Global. I'm watching the stream in India. Amazing, and that actually is fantastic. This is brilliant, just a fabulous opportunity to see, and especially with the air-to-air shots as well. I think that's absolutely fabulous. And we've also got Mum's had enough. Air-to-air images are amazing. I like that name. Do contact us on the Twitter feed, and we'd really love to get all your comments and join in, and as much as we can, and see all the details on the Flight Global website and at the FG Club. Now, I'm delighted to welcome my my next guest, and it's Mr. Craig Hoyle of Flight Global Defence fame. How you doing, Craig?
Hello, back again.
Yes, no, you've already been. So you were earlier helping us on the Typhoon.
Shouting over the Typhoon earlier, probably not terribly effectively because it was kind of noisy. So we'll try and do our best to compete with the, I believe it's the Yak 130 coming up next.
The Yak 130. So what kind of thing can we expect from that, or from that aircraft?
I think although it's not a fighter aircraft, it's a trainer. It's got 2 jet engines, so I think we can still expect it to be fairly noisy. So probably challenging commentary conditions. But I mean, the aircraft has been over in the UK since the start of last week, and was at the Royal International Air Tattoo flying where I was on Friday and Saturday. And unfortunately, I managed to pretty much miss the entirety of its display. So I look forward to seeing what it's going to be able to show us today.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you any sneak previews from that, and the answer is no.
No, I did hear it, so it makes noise. I mean, it's pretty significant that it's here. This is the first time that they've brought this aircraft out of Russia to any shows.
Okay, wow.
So it's I think we're on our takeoff roll there by the looks of things. But basically, it's a design by the Yakovlev Design Bureau, but it's actually built by Irkut.
Oh, okay, and,
it's one of a new class of advanced jet trainers, which is it's on order for the Russian Air Force, and also very much something that they're trying to push to the export customers, which is exactly why they're here.
Is it in service yet, or?
It's doing some initial sort of testing with Air Force, and I think it may be in limited use, but they've only ordered a few so far that they've delivered. They did sign an order at the end of 2010 for 55 aircraft.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they've got some meaningful orders for the aircraft, and they've also completed their first export deal, which was with Algeria, and they've delivered 16 aircraft to them. So they've had some good success with the aircraft already, although it's relatively new on the scene.
And while we're just waiting for it to make its loud entrance, inevitably, just on the news side of things, what's been out? I mean, I know you've been hectically running around. What's been on the defence side of things? What's really been stealing the show?
Well, we've had, I mean, there's some new and interesting things here, and things back that we haven't seen for a while. So V-22's here, which has been quite interesting. We've had some big news with Eurofighter today on their future enhancements. So there's a few things creeping along, but big orders, nothing to speak of particularly yet. So sounds like we're getting airborne now. So yeah. Off he goes off to the side.
There we go. Yeah, I'd lost him behind the EA.
So you can hear noise-wise, it's a class down from the big fighter aircraft, but it's a pretty agile aircraft, as we're going to see. And one thing that's quite significant about how they're displaying the aircraft here is, ordinarily you think of trainer aircraft with maybe a fuel tank underneath the aircraft, nothing under the wing. This is something they've designed from the outset as it's a combat trainer. Right. So at one extent you could even do light attack with it, but it's designed to carry weapons, and we can see under the wing it's got a range of stores. So I think there are unguided rockets. We've got some missiles there as well, and some fuel tanks. So it's flying in quite a heavy configuration. So shows it can still be thrown around quite a bit, despite carrying that equipment. But so as I said, the orders are with Russia and Algeria, but the aircraft has quite an interesting heritage, because a few years back it was the subject of a kind of a joint venture between the Russians and Italy.
Oh, okay.
So Air Macchi, as it was then, were interested in the aircraft, and they've actually both gone their separate ways with different versions of the design. So the Italians have a version called M346, which looks similar, but it has different avionics, different engines, and many other changes. So it's quite unusual to have two aircraft here which are visually very similar, but I guess in their philosophy are quite different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, as you say, it's noticeably quieter than what we've had
Typhoon, yes.
before. And I guess that's really about the class of aircraft it is.
Yeah, I mean it's all to do with the size of aircraft. So it's a much smaller aircraft, so you don't need as much power. But as you don't need the you don't need the. Which some of the users of Flight Global will have noticed already. If not, they should see it soon. Is that we got quite a good exclusive in the run-up to the show. Our test pilot Peter Collins visited Irkutsk in Siberia to fly the aircraft.
Oh, wow.
So we have a new flight test report on looking at the development of the aircraft, and also, more importantly, what's it actually like to get in there and fly it.
Yeah.
An interesting differences. So we're used to our altitudes in feet, and all the dials on the aircraft are in meters and kilometers an hour. So I think it's
That's quite a challenge, actually, isn't it?
it's a little bit of a challenge beyond the distance and the language.
Yeah.
But from the account that our test pilot's written up, he enjoyed flying the aircraft and rated it as a product. So it's that was a great thing for us to be able to do. And
no, absolutely. And that will. And obviously that is available on flightglobal.com, I would assume.
Ideally. If it hasn't been posted yet on the
then
website, it would be there within
So we'll have that up
within
in
the next day or so.
Yeah.
But I think it may be on there already. Might be inside FG Club. I need to locate exactly where it's been.